Hello, and thanks for joining us on the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of GenCon and the gaming capital of the world, this is The Established Facts.
All right, let me see if I can figure this out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Established Facts. First, let's have a moment of silence for the not dead Tracy Hickman.
All right, that's done.
Okay. Yes, the important part being that he's not dead. Anyways, we are back after what I like to call a small hiatus. A little event was going on in Indianapolis here, GenCon. I hope everybody had a good time, and if you weren't there...
Sucks to be you.
Yep, there are worse things, I guess. Not much, but there could be worse.
We'll try to give you a wrap-up.
All right, so I think we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna take advantage of a... What? Why are you looking at me like that, Derek?
Hi.
Oh, gosh. We're going to get right into this, and we're going to do some around the table and introduce ourselves. I know that's why you're looking at me. Look, it's the first time. Give me a minute, all right? Anywho,
You need all the help you can get, dude.
Oh, stop it, Derek. I'm going to start with my left.
This is Anton.
It's Prime.
This is Princess Katie.
Hey guys, this is Derek.
This is Rygar, a.k.a. Jeremy.
And, of course, this is Josh, the host for the evening, since apparently Big Don decided he needed to sleep.
The replacement
Yes,
host.
Mike had family things going on, and that's cool. We're going to go ahead and continue on about this. So I'm just going to come right out of the gate and ask, Katie, how was your Gen Con?
It was crazy. I mean, good crazy, but crazy. I scheduled myself for a couple too many things for my first Gen Con. I was a little bit overwhelmed with everything that was there. I didn't realize just how immense it was. There were lots of things. Like, I wanted to see and do and touch and buy everything, but I couldn't. And that's another thing. I spent a lot more money than I was planning on spending at Gen Con, but I don't regret any of it. It was good stuff.
Did everyone else here spend way too much money?
Yes.
Nope.
I emptied out my bank account, so I mean that's what I expected anyways.
Event tickets and registration are always pricey in my opinion, but
They gotta pay for the convention center somehow.
it's a vacation and I try to put all that behind me.
Well, with 49,000 unique attendees, I think they had to cash in a good amount then.
I heard some random guy say, yeah, they're predicting 90,000 people because of this motorcycle thing. I'm like, whatever.
Well,
unrealistic.
If they're only getting 90,000 people because of the 49 at Gen Con, that would leave, 41 for MotoGP and 160,000 seats? That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, they are actually now talking about dropping it.
I know. But that just means somebody else will come in here and try and take advantage of it.
Yeah, take over the weekend. Yeah, not going to happen.
Supposed to be going on in Chicago.
Not.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't
Anyways,
mind.
wrong podcast.
More hotels for us.
This is not a bikes podcast, guys. Come on, back on topic. Let's go.
Yeah, except
Chop,
that when I looked at the JW, because, and Gen Con hotel reservation is still annoying, so I'm booking it a year in advance. I got one reservation of one room, and then everything blocked out the next minute. I was like, what? So then I had to go to the Marriott to book, and I booked 2 rooms there. So
Now, I have to ask Derek, why, now, since you're already bringing it up, why in the world are you needing to book 3 rooms next year?
Well, actually, technically, I'm booking 2, but it's because I'm going to be having my own booth at Gen Con.
Is this for Universal Storytelling?
Yes, it is. And it's also for the podcast and Bonnie's jewelry. So there's going to be quite a bit to come see our booth next year.
So, though I am sad to report that the Kickstarter was not successful.
Yeah, we're beyond that.
I am excited to report that the Universal Storytelling System will continue on, and we, as a podcast, are excited to see it go forward. So,
Yeah, there was someone who's not affiliated with the podcast. He came for my Universal Storytelling System game, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm excited about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that the Kickstarter didn't pan out, but I'm going to self-fund it." And he's like, "Yeah, great. Just let me know when it comes out." So it's heartening to see people excited to see it, even though the Kickstarter failed. But Kickstarter right now has been sort of missing lately.
Yo.
and it's both a blessing and a curse. The blessing that at least it gives you the opportunity to tell more people about it with your neat, nifty videos of other gamers making silly of themselves. But it can also be the curse of, if it doesn't get funded, you might discourage yourself. And I can tell you, I wouldn't do that.
No, I would say that to anybody else who has a Kickstarter that is not successful. What I've learned over this process is that unless you have like a ready audience that already consumes whatever product that you're selling, then it's just not going to get. It would be very hard to fund it. So. Yeah.
Though it does seem like the Kickstarter may be off topic, I don't think it is, because I think I picked up like 4 or 5 different games just from different Kickstarters that I funded. Dungeon Roll was a major success for that company. Who was behind that? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Please look it up. $20 game, very entertaining game.
Although you had issues with them.
Well, I think a lot of people had issues. There were technical issues going on in the convention center. When you have, 40 some odd thousand people trying to utilize the internet, there are going to be issues with the Square readers and PayPal readers, all these different card reader technologies. They couldn't get them swiped and running.
Oh, well, part of that is because they're using their cellular, not the internet provided by the convention center, because you have to pay for internet. That's why
it's like $100 a day for the booth.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But it's a convention center. I will state that Verizon customers got free Wi-Fi while they were in the convention center.
But that was turned off in there.
And that's only if you're...
I was still able to get to it. The booths may not have been. I was able to.
That's only up to a specific version, isn't it?
For specific versions of Android and all iPhones on the Verizon network could get to it.
Okay.
But still, I mean, it was if you had an Apple laptop, and probably some of the Android tablets could have probably gotten onto it. But what other ones? Albino Dragon Games, the ones who were behind Tracy and Laura's Kickstarter last year that they decided to pull out of due to manufacturing costs or whatever, decided to continue with their artistry and released the Dragon Whisperer, the card game. I picked that up and 2 other games from them. The Gaming Papers Mega Dungeon 2, because they released one before. It's like 100 double-sided sheets of paper that make this like 6-foot by 3-foot dungeon map. That's pretty neat and it was only like $11, and you got a printed copy of it.
So you seem to be into the whole dungeon thing with, I mean, even World's Largest City to a certain extent.
I am.
Okay.
And I can get a little bit more into that in a little bit, but let's give some others an opportunity to talk.
No.
I picked up Heroes of Metro City this year. I have not yet had a chance to play it. I know Mike demoed it at GenCon. I was on their Kickstarter and picked it up. They offered to bring a bunch of copies to GenCon this year, and I picked it up. So that'll be something I'm looking forward to playing.
And what is Heroes of Metro City?
Heroes of Metro City is a competitive deck building game. So, deck building card game.
About, like, you said heroes, so I'm assuming superheroes?
Superheroes and villains, yeah.
Yeah, you showed me this one night in the room.
Yeah.
And it looked interesting.
It looks very interesting.
Have you played it yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll have to ask Mike about it when we get him back.
Or play it.
Yeah.
As far as me, I didn't really get a whole lot as far as games is concerned. I got more dice, which is always important. I mostly just demoed a lot of games, played a lot of games. It wasn't really. You didn't
get registered till the couple weeks beforehand, right?
Right. I mean, the only things I didn't really register for anything. I just picked up some generics and then kind of jumped in some games. But I played the Battlestar Galactica game with the new expansion that came out. I think it was the Pegasus expansion.
No, that's a oh gosh, it's something with Dawn in it.
New Dawn, or
New
something
Dawn.
along those lines.
I'm not really sure what the name of it was, but either way it goes, I know with New Caprica, it was kind of weighted in the Cylon's favor. This one was kind of more of a balancing thing. First of all, we didn't play New Caprica to begin with, but I know at the end, the humans ended up winning. It was a fairly long game, but it was fun. I played Starship Troopers, which the game in and of itself is pretty fun. I didn't necessarily care about who ran it.
That's
so
a
much
role-playing
so.
game now, right?
Yeah,
Battlestar's a
tabletop.
board
I
game.
mean, Battlestar Galactica is a board game, actually. They have a role-playing game out, but that wasn't what I was playing. I was playing the actual, tabletop
Board game.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Worked it hard.
We're a gaming podcast.
Otherwise, I stayed a little while in Mayfair Games. Played a couple of their games that they had, so that was fun. I mean, that's really mostly what I did.
Katie, what wares did you acquire?
A lot of clothes and clothing things. I bought my dad an Army of Darkness shirt because he loves those movies, so I couldn't not. I bought myself a circlet and a belt/necklace from this chainmail lady who actually I'm going to go visit in Georgia sometime within the next year to get a custom chainmail piece for my drow costume next year. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's see, what else did I get? I got a lot of dice because I have a crippling addiction. It's bad.
The first step is admitting.
It's true. However, when it comes to dice, just keep buying more. and more
Right?
and
Like
more.
I was like, I just can't. You can't have too many, I guess.
Was it Daybreak?
Yeah, I think that's what it was Daybreak.
Okay.
Was the expansion for the...
Well, it shows how much they were listening to you.
Right?
Board
But
game.
that's a great segue, Battlestar Galactica, because I had that Battlestar Galactica LARP, and it wasn't really my thing. I was there for about 20 minutes, and it was people who had all role-played last year in a Battlestar Galactica LARP together, so it was very awkward for me to be the person who was new, to just kind of come into this thing. You could tell who had been there last year and who hadn't, because the people who hadn't were all just kind of awkwardly standing around like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed for a bit, then I left. I decided it wasn't for me, and I'd rather go, hang out and do things instead of spending 3 hours not enjoying myself.
Well, and I know as far as like LARPs are concerned, there's really only a certain type of person that can get into LARPs. Either you're into LARPs or you're not into LARPs. There's really no gray area there. So I understand what you're saying there. I've played enough LARPs to know I'm not really...
I'll say I'm definitely willing to give it another shot. It's just, I think since I'm a beginner and all those people had all LARPed together before, it was just not a good situation for me to, like, introduce myself into LARPing. So I'll have to start out with a group that knows I'm a beginner and is more inclusive. But it was definitely, worth trying. I don't regret it. And I did a pole dancing for fun and fitness class.
Is that what they're calling it?
No, it was really cool. It was really cool. It was like gymnastics. There was no, like... it was family friendly. This is a
okay.
family friendly podcast, and it was a family friendly class. Okay, the chick who taught it used to do ballet, but it was really neat. It was actually like really
Excuses.
Yes. Where the big brother likes are looking over here going, you did what?
really cool. But it was neat, and all my clothes stayed on.
I can't believe you just whined that.
But
We're just giving you a hard time, Katie. You know that.
jeez.
It's kind of funny. Another one of my friends was in that same class.
I should have popped in there with some dollar bills. Been like, what's up, ladies?
I would have kicked you in the face.
Oh, they'd have kicked you out. You wouldn't have
Yeah.
been able back.
I'm
been
drawing
funny,
a blank
though.
on every. Oh, I bought Cards Against Humanity. That's what else I bought. We had a great time playing that.
That is not a family-friendly game.
No, it is not. Not at all. Absolutely not. But it's great. It's full of debauchery. It's good
yes.
stuff.
It's true.
In the ocarina.
Yeah, and I bought an ocarina. Really, really pretty elven design. It's white, and it's got some elfish script on it. So I'm trying to think of what else I bought. Other things. Things I shouldn't have, but it's whatever.
You bought one of those knife things, a little rubber knife thing.
Oh, yeah, I bought a knife to go with my elf costume.
That's adorable.
I know, I saw it.
Hey.
It was a little tiny.
No, what I'm trying to figure out is why those two, Rhaegar and Prime, know what you bought better than you did.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. It's been a minute since Gen Con, okay? Cut me some slack.
She spent a lot of money and
No
can't remember it
excuses.
all.
It's supposed to be the most memorable weekend of your life.
But what happens when I get married?
Still.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Now I'm waiting for Deb to come down the stairs.
so now from inexperience to over-experience, Derek. Don't give me that look. You know I'm right.
I think he's going
That's
to an old
true.
geezer.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. This
She's
is my
the young one, and he's obviously not.
And we're not far behind.
It's an insult to injury.
Well, I think you look great for your age,
Thank
Derek.
you.
So.
We're so dead at this mythic game.
I have
Okay.
said nothing.
You are smart, sir. Yes, this was my 10th year, so yes, I guess I would be the geezer of the group. But
Which anniversary is that one?
I don't know.
He's going to come in next Gen Con
Cole.
with a walker.
Ooh, can we get the little tennis balls to put on the bottom?
Okay, you can talk now, I swear.
No. I hate you all. So I bought
Yeah, aluminum.
several. Thanks. I bought several things at the dealer's booth. I think all of this stuff was on Sunday, the last day. I bought Spark, which is a role-playing game. Hillfolk and Trail of Cthulhu, which is like a investigative Cthulhu type game system. All very indie press type, not indie press, but
Independent press.
independently developed type game systems. And then, of course, there was the Tome of Horrors 4.
Yeah, Frog God Games.
Yep. And the Mythic Adventures, as Josh so eloquently put out, that'll be running starting in October. So you guys can hear about how Josh's characters, Katie's character, and Prime's character all died horrible deaths. So
His character's already. Oh wait, no, just the dragon has already died.
Now he's going to send us 2 dragons.
Yes. I also bought these magnetic circles, which can which help with miniatures. They can show height. They can show conditions, that sort of thing.
With the stuff we've been doing, we really need those.
Yeah, we really do. Especially like at 15th level, which you guys are going to be at with Mythic. You guys are going to be like, it's going to all be 3-dimensional combat, and it's going to
That'd be awesome. I love three-dimensional combat.
I'll be buying a case of Aleve. So
Yeah, especially with spellcasters, you really do need a 3-dimensional.
We need a box of big block Legos.
Well,
Yeah.
with the Dragon Rider campaign, it was just really bad.
yeah, it was.
Everybody was in the air.
Well, awesome. And your guy's gonna.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
you're
I
going
know.
to be flying.
I know I am.
So
I
yeah.
can fly too.
I can fly.
I have a
I can
have a
fly.
gargantuan blue dragon that I'm flying around on.
I have a reindeer. What now?
Oh,
I turn
Have
into
a
gas.
It's
A
named,
reindeer. It's supposed to be a caribou because my deity, I get a caribou as one of my boons, but they didn't have caribou in mounts, so I went with reindeer because it was the next closest thing.
I told her to name it Rudolph.
Okay.
It's the same template, obviously.
Obviously.
I just turn into gas.
this is gonna be.
yeah, he's a gassy vampire. So
I guess I'm going to have to put jump jets on my character.
yeah, seriously.
Apparently.
No.
Because I'm a monk, I can jump pretty high.
And with Mythic,
that
you'll be able to jump.
Ragar is turning
Yeah.
into Imperial Guard
Yes.
or
You'll
Space
see.
Marine.
You'll
A
see.
robot.
You can
Well,
hop on my
yeah.
back.
But that's all I got. I bought the 3 sets of dice, which I have not bought new dice in like several years at Gen Con, so this was
Oh, no.
nice. It was nice dice. And that was pretty much it. As far as stuff that I've done, I ran the final game of Lost Religion Found. That went really well.
Amazing.
The chairs.
Yeah, the chairs.
The wall between the two groups.
Oh, that was your battle game that you did. The siege game.
Oh, Siege went really well. Oh my goodness. So I did this late night adult themed Fate game, and I had two groups of players against each other. One was trying to take the castle, one was trying to defend against the castle, and so I had all sorts of crazy things like singing exploding Shatners was a weapon that they could use. There was, that sort of set the tone for
That
it.
gives a whole new definition of Rocket Man.
Yes, it does. But at one point they just started one group started setting up chairs as like a barrier between one group which had one map and the other group which had another map by themselves, and they like took the tablecloth off the table and put it over the chairs. It was like, wow, guys, that's awesome. So I will be running that next year, and unfortunately, only one person showed for my Universal storytelling system game. But it was not like last year where it was like 90% was not running. This time it was only 1/3 that did not make. But aside from that, that's...
So from the experience to the eccentric, Rhaegar,
Oh,
you always have an interesting schedule when you go into the
he
con.
doesn't have a schedule.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. I
Throughout
actually-
the year he may not, but during Gen Con it's like a military operation.
I thought you just wandered around and like somehow friends like attracted to you or something.
That's actually part of the schedule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in his agenda.
Scheduled
Things to
wandering
do.
time.
Yes.
True story.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, just in case you guys have missed it, all of our tickets are going through Rhaegar this upcoming year because he always gets like 5 or like 10 when event registration happens. Everybody else
So-
gets like 2,000 or
Rhaegar?
1,600.
So when you were ordering tickets this year, what was your number in queue?
This year I actually didn't get quite so high. I was 27.
It was 1,805.
I was 300 and something.
I was in the same building as Katie.
I was really happy. It was my first time, and I got
27.
300 and
hate you.
some change.
It's about to be a race this upcoming Gen Con, though.
Well,
I don't know what it is.
We've literally done it in the past where we had like 6 computers all set up ready. We were
my
just
goodness.
on it.
That was old school Gen Con when we had the command center.
Oh yeah, we did at the old apartment. That was awesome times.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can speak.
So my schedule, I'm actually going to leave it on the phone. I'm not going to pull it up for this. I'm going to try to remember it because,
You really don't have to say everything, but
Yeah.
you can.
no,
Alright.
I'm going to try to focus on highlights, such as Wednesday, which is when my Gen Con officially starts. Wednesday afternoon, we had a table for 20 at Fogo.
That was an awesome lunch.
I was there at the tail end.
Yeah,
Shocker, Bonnie
Demery,
and Dom were late.
Demery got pulled in last minute there. But man, oh man. Apparently we had like 7 or something people from San Francisco just, hi, random people who I don't know. That was fun.
John Pettit, I think, was that?
No, that was that night at. I was going to get to that next, Scotty's.
Oh, yeah, I didn't go to Focus. I went to Scotty's. That's right.
Yeah.
So what we do is just have a tradition where we get a bunch of friends together, hang out at these places before the actual convention starts, to try to actually meet everybody prior to this because we're going to be going our separate ways. And this was also an opportunity where we could just invite other people from other groups and get a chance to, interact with those. Scotty's was this group and John Pettit. He's got a mug that he's working on getting a waitress to sign every year.
So far, he's been successful.
Let's see. There was a Cyberpunk 2020 game that's very similar to Shadowrun, but it's its own system. I had a lot of fun with that. The guy was measuring the progress, the ability of the groups based on how much heat they generated from killing civilians or killing police officers or something. And our group was the best ever. After that, it's just mostly, blocks of time between my events scheduled wandering around. and I usually try to coordinate it so it's going through the convention hall or near the convention hall, so I can actually go through and walk around and see the exhibit hall, get a chance to hang out with people and help them on their purchasing decisions.
Or poor purchasing decisions, depending upon what.
Or to protect them from poor purchasing decisions.
Is that why? Did that explain why they knew you're purchasing better than you?
Yeah, anybody who walked around with me, and both Prime and Raga were there for quite a bit of my walking around. I said, okay, now don't let me buy everything. I still bought a lot of things, but I didn't buy everything.
Yeah, she was totally a kinder. She was like, oh, shiny, oh, shiny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No, Katie, this way.
It is her first Gen Con.
Oh, yeah.
The dealer hall is. Ooh.
I've got a really neat leather bag, though.
I do. It is pretty cool looking.
The exhibit hall itself was actually pretty well organized this year. It
Yeah,
felt
really.
like the rows had more room to them. Like, even though people would stop, there's like an aisle for a third group of people to walk around or between.
Okay, I'm going to jump in really quick here. WizKids, when you first enter on Thursday, you go for all the exclusives, and WizKids with HeroClix has that, and they've done this every year for years, and it was like they were doing it for the first time. They did not have any line management. They had people cutting in line. They were trying to wrap the line around the booth, but had no people watching the behind the booth, so people were jumping in there. And so when I got to the front of the line, they were selling 2 exclusives. One was sold out. Well, they have enough. They've set aside a certain number for each day. But when I got to the front of the line, they sold out of one for that day, but I bought the second one. But they should have just unpacked all the rest of that other exclusive and just sold it continually on Thursday. It was the worst. It was the worst experience that I had at Gen Con this year.
Well, the good news is we can skip Derek on the gripe section of this episode.
No, you
now.
can't.
Oh, okay.
I've got other gripes. It's just
Let's let Ragar continue with his schedule.
no, but I thought it was actually good.
We're not in the gripe section. It's a good
We have a
point.
gripe section?
Yeah, ultimately.
yeah, we do.
We always give a chance for that.
Yeah.
So I'll hold my gripes until then.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Good, because I was actually going to use that to transition into one.
Oh, okay.
But I'll save it.
Okay.
So, let's see. I also try to make sure I stay out until about 2 a.m. or so every night.
2 a.m., huh?
Yeah.
That's all.
Wow, early bird.
4 hours of sleep or so.
No.
Every
we're,
day.
We're early birds.
Then Sunday I schedule absolutely nothing because I want to rest.
I don't really sleep during Gen Con. I'm just
My
saying.
Sunday. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then that's why I have Monday off, is so I can. And that was used this year. I would suggest people schedule Monday off next year.
Or work third shift like us, so it really doesn't matter.
See, that's why I keep Sunday off, is so I can make sure I get back to work and feel okay. Another one of my highlights was a friend who I actually met at Gen Con last year, just came back from the Ukraine, and had some Ukrainian money on her, and was sitting over with a bunch of like security guards or something, playing a dice building game. New genre that I hadn't heard of before. So there's if you're into deck building games, there is also dice building. Fun fact.
Well, okay, since you said you had a gripe to flow off of that, I won't let you forget it. Why don't you just go ahead and kind of take over from there?
Hotels. Oh my gosh, hotels.
What's wrong with hotels?
They were all scheduled out this year. The hotels downtown reserved something like 1/3 or 2/3 of all of the rooms for the MotoGP stuff.
Yeah, because last year MotoGP got stuck out at the airport because they didn't think. Well, so they made sure to get
This
their
year it
block.
was me. I got stuck out at the airport.
Yeah, it took us 5 days to find your hotel.
That was an adventure.
Yeah. So here's what's happened in the past with hotels in Indianapolis. Let's see here. What was it? The third year Gen Con was in Indianapolis was the first time they had an NFL game. Here's what happened with that. So the New York Jets had a hotel downtown. They were playing a preseason game with the Colts at Indianapolis. They were late arriving. The hotel sold their rooms. The New York Jets had to go out of town to get a hotel.
That's fine. Okay,
was
well, I
awesome.
understand the Jets like saying
That was-
blocking it out, but MotoGP.
That was almost 10 years ago.
MotoGP should draw in 160,000 people.
Okay.
It does not.
How much does it draw?
40. Which is still purpose enough to save rooms.
Right, but not that many.
There were 49,000 at GenCon. They got about a half almost this year. Last year they didn't get any, and that's why they got it blocked this year.
Isn't the Moto like out on the west side?
Yeah, but everything
all
really
the major hotels and all the high class hotels are downtown.
are downtown.
They still do a lot of
High class
stuff.
restaurants downtown.
Yeah, they still do a lot of stuff for MotoGP downtown.
There you go. Use your words.
I just don't necessarily care to go to Jimmy John's looking at people running around with hatchets and chains around their waists.
Yeah.
Are you
because-
talking about the MotoGP people, or Gen Con? Because I saw both.
No, it was definitely MotoGP
Chains and hatchets
people.
in
Like,
both instances.
leather
I think there was
vests,
also a
leather biker vests.
biker
Yeah,
convention.
there was a bike event downtown
It-
for MotoGP.
yeah, it
There was
follows MotoGP.
Also a Colts game that weekend too.
Not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, there was.
Not here.
Thought, sworn
It
there
was out of town.
Yeah, it was out of town.
Was it?
New York Giants out of town.
They were.
That's true.
That was something I think you and I.
I was glad it was an away game.
Yeah.
Let's play a game called How Many Things Can Indianapolis Schedule at One Time?
You know what?
Go.
Let them schedule it. Let them schedule it. As an Indianapolis native, I'm going to say let them schedule it because the more business we have here, the better off we're going to be. There's a reason why Gen Con's been pushed to 2020 here in Indianapolis. It's because even with the 50,000 people that come to Gen Con and the 50,000 that go to MotoGP, they're still able to make it work.
And there's at least several games a year where they schedule a Colts game, a basketball game, and a baseball game all in the same day. So,
But those
yeah.
aren't even in the same seasons.
Yeah,
They are in the same seasons.
they do overlap.
A couple of them do. Baseball's still going on. Football just started.
Yeah, see, I don't
That's
do
true.
baseball or basketball. They're both.
Well, see, the thing about it is, if
Like
you
women's
really
basketball.
do think about it, the Formula One event drew 250,000 people, and 95% of them were out of towners.
Yeah.
We can host 200,000 in hotels, so we have the space. It's just properly utilizing it.
Right. And that's why
They flummoxed this year.
yes.
It'll get better.
But this is also the reason why I scheduled or I reserved hotels.
Yeah. And John Pettit does the same thing with the Hampton. You know, if there are people that know that, if you're listening right now and you know you're going to be here at next year's Gen Con, try calling the hotels now. They will. A lot of them will still take reservations. Not all of them, but a lot of them will because up to a certain point they'll take reservations, then they'll stop. And then start going, okay, next year during that time, we know that these people are going to be here. We need to block this out. But some of them are willing to take your money now. They're going to charge you more than your discounted rate will be. But if you know you're going to stay downtown, you might as well get
it's
it booked.
worth not having the hassle. That's the last thing that Gen Con needs to fix is the hotel reservation process. Because it's just as bad as the event registration.
I think that's what they're trying to do with the VIP passes.
They don't have enough.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
VIGs are like
VIGs are
500.
VIGs are gone so quickly.
Yeah.
I saw my first one this year. I actually saw somebody walking around with one.
Every year at the
Yeah.
Hickman's Killer Breakfast, they're there. There's 25 of them.
Well,
for
sure,
breakfast.
but I mean that's one specific event
Yeah.
that we see them. But I actually saw somebody walking around with the VIG this
Yeah, I've
year.
had
which
a
is-
couple. I saw a couple of them, and
I
it's
always see the companions. I never actually see the VIG itself.
oh,
I don't even know what the VIG passes look like.
Very important. Yeah, they actually
says
say
it.
VIG on them on the actual badge
Very
holder.
important gamer.
Oh.
I did not see Portnow this year either. James Portnow from. Yeah. Anyways,
Anyways,
You used to get all kinds of swag with the VIG pass.
Still do.
they still get the swag. Everyone else doesn't.
Oh, okay.
That's gripe that we've had that was on last year's episode.
Oh.
Derek, you did gripe about WizKids. Do you have one more? I'm trying to keep. We're at 30 something minutes in. I figured one gripe will be. I'm sure there's more, but
You could probably cover 20 minutes with one gripe.
that's true.
that's true. Actually, no, I don't.
Oh.
Shocker.
That's impressive.
No, I think that the hotels, you brought that up. That was good. The events ran really well. I still had something that was completely full that got one person that actually showed. That was annoying. But that's sort of an ongoing gripe until Gen Con fixes that.
Out of curiosity, since you're actually hosting events, how did the random tickets that could be used as generics thing work out?
Well, that was a problem.
Okay.
I think that people went to other things, and that's why that third game never made.
You didn't have anybody from random games showing up to yours?
No.
Okay.
No. But that's a huge gripe of mine because it just makes it too easy for people to drop out of things. And but next year, we're going to be running the USS a lot. Like there are several people who have volunteered to run it next year, and so
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I do
there
have
you
a
go.
slight gripe.
We're getting to you. Hold on, Katie's going next.
yeah,
Oh,
gripe away.
go ahead, Katie.
I don't really have a gripe, I guess, mainly just because I didn't know what to expect, so I was kind of pretty much just a clean slate, like, you know, whatever happens, but I guess a gripe, quote unquote, that I had was that I kind of expected it to be a little bit different than what it was. I expected to see the people that I knew a little bit more, and instead I just was kind of out on my own, which is cool. I'm an extrovert, so I can deal with it. You know what I mean? But it's just that was kind of different for me. You know, just kind of like wandering about by myself. But I made friends with strangers, so it's okay.
As long as you didn't take candy.
No, none of them.
Cake is okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And Gen Con
That was
Lost and
awesome.
Found worked for you.
Yes, it did. This isn't a gripe. This is a really cool thing. I lost my knife that I bought for my elf costume, and the next day I went to the t-shirt stand where I thought I left it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we took it to Lost and Found." Went to Lost and Found, and they had my knife. It was a Gen Con success story. It's the true meaning of Christmas, everybody. Like,
Nice.
All right then.
I tell you that it is difficult because I heard the same gripe actually from Mike about me specifically. I can tell you that every year at Gen Con, I wrap myself in games. I tell everybody this when game registration comes up, and if you want to get in, I will put you on, but I will not stop myself from being able to play a game if you can't get in. This year I bought 4 tickets for Derek's Lost Religion game. Didn't have any problems getting them.
Next year I'll buy 20 tickets.
That's like
Yes.
you with the True Dungeon.
Yeah.
That happened with us, where I had you try to buy my True Dungeon ticket. You couldn't, but you got yourself in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we game all the time. We do. I mean, if not once a week, once every 2 weeks, we're all getting together playing games and so forth. And what happens at Gen Con, we get to kind of explore the options that we don't normally explore when we're a group. Here, I mean, we're role players. We play board games. We play video games. That's kind of what we do. And we're Pathfinder players. Every once in a while, we'll play a hero game. Every once in a while, we'll play Star Wars. You know, but for the most part, we're kind of a very centralized group in the way we do things. When we get to Gen Con, we want to experiment, and sometimes people don't want to experiment. And I don't mean that in the pole dancing sort of way.
Oi.
it's gymnastics. It's a form of gymnastics.
A lot of us, we just kind of spread out. We just kind of go in our own directions, and we explore some games that we may like want to see or want to test, or maybe that's Gen Con's the place where we actually do play those games or pole dancing.
I'll remember that next time I go to the Red Garter.
Whoa.
I like
Really?
They don't have poles.
Really?
Anyways.
Oh my
Yeah, we do experiment with different events at Gen Con. They've actually expanded a lot on these other events than previous years. It's really been cool to see things like different panels, some of which I cannot say on the mics because we're a family-friendly show. Two of which I went to this year, so
Two of which sold out very quickly. Yes.
So, but yeah, I do enjoy that. Okay, Prime. Wait,
All right, Prime, gripe it away.
Well, okay. So
Aside from Starship Troopers, grum.
Aside from the Starship Troopers, and it really wasn't the game in and of itself. It was the people who were running it that I don't necessarily care for. But next to that, I don't necessarily care for the fact that the independent games are towards the back of the exhibit hall. Like, I think they should be more close up to the front, towards the front. To be honest with you,
They're paying for space. There's the bigger spots, the locations that they're paying for prime space.
yeah, I understand that. It doesn't make it any less annoying.
Are you talking about in the exhibit hall?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the independent? You're talking about the Entrepreneurs Alley?
yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Got information on that too because of next year. The guy at the booth where I bought the magnetic pieces at, he said that because I asked him about the booths, and he said, "Yeah, the Entrepreneurs Alley is always put in the worst spot in the exhibit hall, but they're also $1,000 instead of $2,500."
Okay, well, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, it is. But he said, don't get discouraged. And this is actually for anybody else who wants to exhibit in the Entrepreneurs Alley. He said, don't be discouraged because of the lack of foot traffic. Just do that to get your foot in the door. And then the following year, put out the $2,500 to get like a normal booth space, and booth spaces are increasing like every year. So
Okay, well, that's good. That's comforting to know.
That's actually something I don't know. Even though my schedule is really packed, I always make sure I have time to go through all of the exhibit hall.
yeah, but not everybody goes to that back corner. They'll especially go to like the exclusives of the big booths. They'll go to Paizo to pick up their held orders. They'll go to everything like halfway up, and they may go to the art exhibit or to
Which
the
was
writers.
really clever on GenCon's
I
part.
really
with how
enjoyed where they put that this year.
Yeah. It was
They had that
really
there
clever.
last year.
No, last year it was over.
It was back further.
It was over along one wall. It was over along the right hand wall last year.
Oh, okay.
This
This year
year
it was dead center in the middle of the back.
Oh, that's okay.
So it was a good avenue to pull people. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this is different. There's like art back here and books.
And then the entrepreneurs was directly to its right.
Yeah, so they may be trying to actually fix that problem.
Yeah, some of the 4th edition artists. Magic the Gathering 4th edition. One of the artists or a couple of the artists were actually there in the artist alley.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wayne Reynolds, one of the big artists for Paizo, had a booth there this year and was signing his war book, and it was in that area actually.
Yeah, they have a lot of them. Well, I mean, Magic artists are typically, you'll find 3 or 4 of them there every year. But go ahead, you can talk now.
So independent developers in a crappy place.
Yeah, also, I think a general complaint, I know Bonnie expressed it, and Don expressed it a little bit with the True Dungeon, is that if you go with the wrong party, then it doesn't necessarily make the experience very good. Like, Bonnie was talking about how she had gotten set up with a party of, how many people is there? Like 6 people in the party?
Last year there were 8. This year it was 10.
And like all of them, except for her and like one other person, had already been through the True Dungeon already, so they just pretty much sat in the background the entire time. So it was really just her and like 1 or 2 other people working on puzzles and stuff. So I mean, that's never really a fun experience.
Don jumped in with us. We actually went in with 11 because of him. Just because he was on his way, people were late, and then they showed up, and they're like, you know what, we're going to let him through. We already said he could go. And we had because the majority of us had not been through it. There were a couple that had, but the party really worked well together. And that was his statement about the year before. He had run into that where they weren't working well together or had already done it. And we even had one of the game masters in the dungeon go, you guys really work well together. Granted, we died when it was all done, but he said you guys really worked really well together through that room, and he was impressed by it. So,
and that's a lot like any con game. I mean, you sort of throw the dice as far as how good the party or the players are going to be,
or the DM.
Those 2 guys from the Lost Religion game. The 2 add-ons that we had for the...
Yeah.
Wow. Major props to those guys.
Yes.
They really...
I mean, they were jumping in at a really tough situation because there was a lot built up into this session. And
8 players, 6 of them know you. 3 of them have been in every game for 7 years. 1 of them had been at the first game.
yes.
So there was a lot of history.
Yes, and even though I was like, yeah, people can jump in wherever. No, I realized this late. It was just like, no, you just sort of have to be with it, but they ran with it like crazy. They were amazing.
Yep.
I know as far as that's concerned, with the annual type games that you play every Gen Con, I've been in a couple of them where I've just been like the first time ever being in the game, and I've been completely lost in there, so I can kind of understand what's going on as far as that's concerned, like how they were at,
If you're going to do the annual game, you either have to say, you know what, this is going to be an annual game. You're going to be jumping in. Some people are going to know the history in that. Or you run it where it's just a repeat of the last year. Like I'll do with Siege or the Inn one.
Yeah, I know exactly what we're talking about. Why am I forgetting what it's called?
Ballroom Blitz?
There it is.
Ballroom-
Barroom Blitz.
Barroom.
Barroom Blitz.
That.
Words.
But yeah, other than that, I think overall, I think my Gen Con's been pretty good. Was pretty good.
Yeah, I've played that one once before.
Yeah. Tony.
Gripes. I know it's always it's one of those that with Gen Con it's kind of a catch-22. You can't, but you want them to anyway. Spacing. Just 6 inches either side further on the hall, the pathways inside the con hall would make a huge difference.
Con hall or exhibit hall?
Exhibit hall, same difference for me.
Not the
They don't-
hallways in between the actual exhibit.
Yeah.
hall itself.
Well, and it would be really nice if they could set up the exhibit hall in such a way that the doorways that they let people in are major thoroughfares.
Yeah.
And they don't do that. Give them an extra width, because that's the main traffic. Like, okay, the main drag that goes across the back that's in front of the authors and artists area, in front of an entrepreneur's house, make that a larger hall, larger walkway, so people can actually ferry across the exhibit hall easier and not run into 1,000 people in 5 feet.
Well, they place that the third door to the right. They place that in the wrong location.
Where we went in?
Yeah, because that's right in front of WizKids.
Right.
I think part of the problem with that is the meeting fire code standards along with profit margin, because if you're giving more space, you're giving less space to the people who are paying.
We fully understand that if they do that, they're actually reducing the floor space that they're giving out for exhibitors. It's just a gripe that we've always had it's not a correctable gripe.
No, because they don't have a larger room than that.
No.
Yeah, the trick with something like that's just try to essentially
finding
they
a
need
happy
somebody
medium.
who's skilled at doing civic planning.
Yeah, it's just about finding
Put
a happy
your
medium.
interstates here, along the lines.
I mean, the only way that they could actually handle something like that is if they went corner. So you guys are going to have to imagine like one huge room and then horizontal and another room bisecting it like vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that corner where the trading card games were and where the exhibit hall is, they meet up at the corner. So the only way that they're going to be able to expand the exhibit hall is to take out that corner.
They can't expand the exhibit hall at this point.
Yeah, without pushing people to another room.
No,
Yeah.
no. The thing about it is, they physically can't expand the exhibit hall. There's no space. Everything behind the exhibit hall right now is loading dock.
No, what I'm saying is take over the card.
Oh well, no,
area.
Honestly, the only way they could really expand the exhibit hall at this point is to go vertical.
Yeah.
So, which the convention center's not at this point.
You can't.
You can't do that. So they
But
can't spend the money
it's a good
on it.
point.
Yeah, no, it is. But as much as I hate to say it, Gen Con really is starting to outgrow Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, because
I
don't think it is.
disagree.
They only used half of the old convention center this year.
That's true. The other half was for open gaming.
Yeah, half of it was True Dungeon. There's still 2 whole halls over there that aren't being touched.
Well, they're going to keep the open gaming because there's so many games over there that are run that are GenCon paid games that are over there.
But that just shows they haven't outgrown it yet.
No,
That's true. If it ever comes down to it, they'll cut back on some open gaming in order to
I
put more
completely agree
booths
on that.
into-
But
you know
I'm
what
just
I mean?
saying we're starting to get to that point where the biggest thing you're going to run out of space for with GenCon is the exhibit hall.
Yes.
And
Go put them on the football field.
Right?
That's not a bad
I know.
idea.
well, no, it's not. It's honestly not an overflow area for different spaces. They can use
They've got
Lucas
a-
Oil.
they've
The
got a tunnel-
firefighters and
FFA.
FFA use it every year.
Katie has a point, but I'm going to jump in after that.
Okay. What I was going to say was, I know this was my first Gen Con, but at any rate, you do have other halls that are close to H&I, which they used for the exhibit hall this year. You could eventually, depending on the space, separate it by types of things. I mean, if you keep the H&I for all the wares and the games, and then maybe move the artists and the authors to a completely separate space, so they don't have that little back alley in the back of the exhibit hall. I'm just saying you separate it by type. Like if it gets to that point
Yeah.
where they outgrow the space they've got to put everything in one room, if they haven't outgrown Indianapolis, they'll just have to separate who's selling what where.
I don't think they're anywhere close to having outgrown us yet.
No, I think it's like 2 million square feet. I think we still got plenty.
No, that's what I'm saying. They've got plenty of space. They just may have to move things within the convention center, but there's still plenty of space there in the convention center to use.
There are pros and cons to that. One thing about having the exhibit hall set up like they do is that the artists and the authors get the extra foot traffic from being connected to everything else.
Yeah.
The other issue, if they were to move it to the football field, is that's quite a bit out of the way of
True.
everything else.
It is.
I would have no ability to schedule my time such that I'm walking past or through the exhibit hall between.
They're just going to have to move the card games and that sort of
I
thing.
could honestly see them moving that out there.
Yeah.
The open gaming area where the war game and stuff for that.
That
move
wasn't
out
open. That's not an open gaming area. Those people reserve those tables.
I know, but there's also open gaming area in the very back far corner.
They could
There
always
Yeah.
do what they did at the Super Bowl and close off Georgia Street.
But they did that this year.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Food
where the
trucks.
food trucks
Food
were.
trucks. There was a
Food
concert
trucks
out
are-
there.
I didn't realize it was closed.
Yeah,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
could drive
yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
It was Georgia Street was closed. At least the one block outside the convention center.
That being said, I still think they had more space in the aisles than they did the last year.
Oh, I completely
I
agree.
agree.
But still, you're still running into the serious congestion problem. But it's a catch-22 because if you get it too free, then it feels too empty. So it really is just.
Or you go the
it's a-
Dragon Con route where you have maybe one-person lanes.
foot, yeah.
Yeah.
When I used
Thanks.
Don and Bonnie's stroller, I had plenty of room.
Now they could move things into the D&D fourth ed location.
The play area.
Yeah.
They could.
Yeah, there's my gripe. I'm going to put that in for my wife. And I'm actually saying this as a Pathfinder fan, Paizo fan, because I think Paizo utilized the Sagamore Ballroom better than anyone I've seen in the 7 years I've gone.
There was no room to walk in that room.
That
though.
Sagamore Ballroom was specifically the Friday night special that I played. It was 140 tables, 6 players at each table, a game master at each table, 20 volunteers between the tables, and 20 volunteers at HQ. They said over 1,000 people were involved in this single 5-hour game that was going
Maximum
on
capacity.
for. I mean, it was ridiculous. But then when you walk by the D&D Encounters area that Wizards of the Coast had, I never saw more than half the tables full.
Oh, really?
I never saw that much.
And it's just it's saddening, but my hope
Reality check for Wizards.
it was, and I got to give them.
Sorry. From what I've heard, that was a Hasbro problem, not a WotC problem.
Oh, the
Hasbro took over for D&D 4th Ed, and then WotC said, no, you guys screwed up. And then they said, we screwed up by letting Hasbro do stuff. So we're going to do stuff again, and they're going back to 2nd edition, essentially. I hope that they have a measure of success, because I would be really upset if D&D went under.
I saw a second edition book over at Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, I mean they've been
They've
released
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
different editions.
First,
but-
second, third, there are 3.5 reprints, physical reprints of core rule books that have gone out. The D&Dclassics.com, I think is what it's called, through Drive-Thru RPG. They're releasing PDF versions of all their stuff. I am of the opinion, and even as a professional wrestling fan, as a role-playing game fan, that competition is good. It is good for the consumer more than it is for anybody else. I hope D&D does well, because that'll just push Paizo to make Pathfinder better and push the independent folks to put out more things like Fiasco or the Fate Core system. It makes it better overall for the genre. My gripe is that the genre, I love what Paizo has done. Paizo ran role-playing games this year, and that you saw them everywhere.
Well,
I bought stuff from them. I'm not going to lie about
They
it.
had
but
the Flash event where they were handing out goblin masks or something.
yeah,
and anyone who's a smart businessman is going to listen to what the majority of the crowd is into, and try and get something that's close to what they're looking at as possible. You know what I mean?
Here's what it really boils down to for D&D. This is really the first major failure Wizards has had for that.
Agreed.
Ever.
That's true.
No,
Fourth edition.
no, there have been Wizards has had plenty of failures in terms of card series for Magic the Gathering.
Not tabletop.
But I'm in realm. Well, really, what other tabletop games does Wizards produce?
Wizard still makes a ton of money off of Magic, but
Oh no! I'm talking role playing games.
Yeah.
But that's just it. This is the main role playing game that Wizard produces. This is really the first failure that they've had. So this is just a hole that Wizards has to crawl themselves back out of. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not that requires Wizards finally saying we're done and splitting back off from Hasbro, that's yet to be seen. Because Hasbro is pulling the chains on this too.
I understand that, but Wizards needs to be the ones that needs to drive this.
Oh, no, I completely agree. But the thing about it is, it's yet to be seen what Wizards is going to completely do about this. I mean, they're starting down the path with Next and some other stuff. But I, in my opinion, think that this eventually, the complete flummox that Hasbro forced onto Wizards is going to end up causing Wizards down the road, maybe 5 or 7 years, splitting back off from Hasbro. And
I would
becoming a
be
separate
okay
entity. I'd be
with that.
completely okay with that too.
Yeah, because, I mean, I am totally foreseeing, and we can mark this episode, I am seeing a board game bubble that's going to burst.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
Just like with the trading card bubble, with the role playing bubble,
At near the end of 3.5,
Yeah.
It kind of did burst there for a bit.
there's going to be a board game bubble, and Hasbro's going to suffer because of it a little bit. They're mostly mass market. They're not hobby type of board games,
Yeah.
but Wizards, I would totally support a Wizards break off of Hasbro.
And of the main companies that are under Hasbro, Wizard has maintained its own name through the entirety of it. And of the companies that Hasbro does own and maintain separate names, Wizards is the one company I can see having enough financial stability to split itself back from the parent company. And really, Hasbro came in to help Wizards when Wizards was down. They were in a slump with Magic. They were in a slump with 3.5, and when Hasbro came in as primarily a financial backer behind Wizards.
Yeah.
That board game bubble idea might be a good topic for another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Okay, so one last thing. Before
Go
we
to
wrap this up.
GenCon if you haven't gone to it this
Well,
year.
Of
Do
course.
it.
Of course.
We honestly, we may push this over and over and over again, but if you are a gamer, you enjoy games, not just, and I'm not strictly just talking console games, I'm talking games across the genres. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy that, you will not regret going to Gen Con.
Even if you aren't a gamer, you'll still like it, because I actually played very few games this year, and I was incredibly excited to get into the cosplaying aspect of the con, which was a really big draw for me, and actually where I spent a lot of my money. But even if you're not particularly hardcore about some games, you're just a casual gamer, go for the costumes. Go for the cosplaying. If you want to dress up as something, do it. Go for it because you won't regret it. It was
like
incredible.
4 days of Halloween.
Oh yeah, it was incredible to see some of the stuff that people made. Like it was a good time. So even if you aren't a hardcore gamer, you just kind of casually game, go and maybe one day and experience it.
Okay.
I do have one last thing.
Then if you can add it in, this. I want a quick fire, biggest surprise of the con for you.
Ooh.
Go.
The plastic name tags. I was very, very pleased with that. That's something that they've needed to do for a number of years now.
There was a Klingon band that was singing.
That was awesome.
Really?
It was really cool.
It was really cool. It was on the first.
That was surprising.
That is kind of surprising.
No, they did it on Friday too because I was dressed as red and they were there.
Were they singing in Klingon
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All of it.
You were that surprised by it all?
It was a lot. It
Okay,
was,
well,
it was
yeah.
a lot, but it was a lot.
Totally believable.
Scotty's Pub.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've actually been to one of the pubs during GenCon.
I want to get back down there just even outside of GenCon because I had their peanut butter burger and kind of was surprised. I liked it. It was good.
They have really,
Jeremy.
really good
Breathe.
pretzels and beer cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, that stuff was delicious.
Yes, Jeremy, who looks like you can barely breathe.
I thought of something absolutely hilarious I could say to this, but the food trucks, the all-inclusive feel that it had, just all of downtown had the Gen Con feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just Gen Con this year.
I am going to say the success of the Pathfinder adventure card game. I bet Paizo was almost as surprised as I was. They sold out of them. I mean, they sold out of them day 2, I think it was. And it's pretty amazing to see a release something like that where they completely sell out of something. And I love walking up and seeing such a success like that.
I'm so terrified because Paizo has been on such a roll lately.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Are you saying that we have a bubble there we may have to talk about too?
No, because if you have the right talent, then you can pretty much go on forever. But
It's just one of those senses of like impending doom. You're like, this is going too well.
It really is.
When's the the catch or the curse gonna happen?
Because I played
Like,
the adventure card game and I loved it.
yeah.
All right. So, on our last episode, where again we want to thank Tracy and Laura Hickman for sitting down with us.
Who are not dead.
You know what? You're just stealing my thunder. We established 2 things. Michael established that Gen Con is literally the best year-long wait in gaming. And Tracy Hickman, though he may be in memoriam, that is a little too early. Tracy Hickman is still alive.
And Margaret Weiss.
And Margaret Weiss. Because she was on that same page. Today, I would like to establish, many of you have heard the phrase, happy wife, happy life. Though this may not rhyme, happy gamer, happy prophet.
That's true.
Josh,
Well, it's the truth.
I know,
It is
but
true.
you're not very catchy with these.
Gen Con has the Christmas spirit.
Gen Con is the true meaning of Christmas.
Oh,
There we go. That's it.
I like that one better.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, you're vetoed.
Ooh, I established my first fact.
Gen Con is the true meaning of Christmas.
And also, it's a great place to do Christmas shopping.
Agreed.
Well, with that, we'll let you go. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.
Please visit us at www.theestablishedfacts.com and our Facebook page, facebook.com/theestablishedfacts. If you would like to support us by buying some merchandise, visit cafepress.com/castingrobot.
Bonus